Funding for the production of Folks is provided in part by the Friends of LPB.
Why are you good in what you do?
I'm very grateful for any success that I've been able to achieve, but I think challenge makes me run.
Hello everyone, I'm Rob Hinton.
And I'm Genevieve Stewart. Today on Folks, we'll be talking with 4 outstanding black women who are helping to bring women into the mainstream.
First, we'll be taking a look at the only black female in Louisiana who owns and operates a major car dealership. And later on, I'll be talking to the first black woman in this country to earn a doctoral degree in chemical engineering.
I'll be talking with one of the few black female dentists in the state. I'll also have a report on this nation's only black female prison warden.
That and more today on Folks.
Everybody says folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just people all over the world. Folks who live, folks got to give, folks got to care, folks got to share. Our world is small, so very small. What touches one of us, who touches us all? To stay alive, just to survive, folks got to be in harmony. Everybody just folks, just plain old folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just folks, everybody just folks, just plain old folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just folks.
Throughout the year, we have done programs on the accomplishments and contributions of women to our society today. We have also focused in on some of the problems women face getting into area, let's say, that have been traditionally dominated by men. Well, today on Folks, we're going to be looking at some women who are trying to make it easier for their peers. We begin by taking a look at a very colorful lady in Jeanerette, Louisiana.
Nobody gave me anything. Jackie Edgar paid her dues. If you want something, get out there and knock on doors and get it. That's the only thing I can tell anybody. You know, and I'm doing what I want to do.
That's Jackie Edgar. She sells cars. Not only does she sell cars, but she owns and operates her own car dealership in Jeanerette. Miss Jackie, as the town people call her, opened her dealership back in March. Prior to that time, she had been selling automobiles and trucks for 9 years. Tell us what made you decide to go in the car sales business.
Well, in 1974, my husband was a commercial fisherman, and that year shrimping was really slow. So I went by the Automart and I told Cecil Broussard that I needed a job. He says, well, I don't need anybody in the office. So what about selling cars? He says, well, when I hired a lady salesman, she had to leave at 4 o'clock because of her kids. So, well, Mr. Cecil, I need a job. You know, if it takes longer hours, I'm willing to do it. So he says, I'll let you know. But he gave me a test, and he says, I'll let you know. So this was a Monday afternoon, I called him. And he says, well, I'll let you know. And Tuesday, he started laughing Tuesday morning when I called him. He says, well, I'm still undecided. So that afternoon, I got dressed and I went by the dealership and I told his sales manager, Dick Guidry, said that I needed a job. I need to know if they wanted to hire me or if I had to go someplace else. So he says, well, he says, the automobile business is a hard business. I said, well, I'd like to try it. So he gave me that chance, and I've been in it ever since. And I love the automobile business.
When you first went into the car sales business, what obstacles did you have to overcome?
Well, first I had to learn how to do the paperwork and learning how to sell the automobile, some of the products. But it wasn't really that bad because the people, they looked at me, they were kind of shocked, but they accepted what I wanted to do. I was out there to make a living, and I had nothing but good things to say about my adventure in the automobile business.
And what about her male counterparts? How did they react to a woman selling cars?
It wasn't bad because everybody respected me and we got along well. We worked real good. We worked as a family and as a team. I did the same thing they did. If they checked in cars, I went out there and I checked in cars. But the only difference was that if they saw something that I was doing that could hurt me, they'd pull me off a side, wait, let me do it. You know, I had no problems with the fellows that I worked with whatsoever. I love people, so it was easy, you know, just getting together with the customer, letting them know I needed to work. And everybody respected me for what I represent. You know, I needed to work, and I loved what I was doing, and I gave them the best deal humanly possible, and that helped me a whole lot.
How did you come to own your own dealership?
Well, in 1978, I was working at J.P. Thibodeau, and I told J.P. that I wanted my own business. I don't know why. I mean, it's just something on the inside of me says you have to have your own business. And he says, well, I'll help you. And I applied with every division in General Motors, even Ford, and I just worked at it like a car sale, and that's why I'm here today.
For some women, owning and operating your own car dealership might seem like a wild and insane idea. But Jackie says she received a lot of moral support from her family and friends.
Everybody was glad for me, you know, just having the dream and making it come true with two different things. And everybody was so glad, you know, they were glad for me, but they were even happier when I got it, because it was a dream come true. You know, they were tired of hearing me saying, I want my own business, I want my own business.
But going into business for herself wasn't as easy as 1, 2, 3. First, there was the matter of financing.
It was a little problem, but we got it together. My banker helped me get it together, but it was hard at the time with the way the economy was to get a package put together, but we got it. The biggest problem was to buy the dealership. Then from there was getting the dealership, the paperwork done the way Chevrolet Motor Division needed, and GMAC. Once I did that, everything else was all right. Everything fell in place.
It won't be long before Edgar Chevrolet will be celebrating its first anniversary. And according to Jackie, there will be a lot to be grateful for.
We have turned it around. It has been wonderful for us. You know, this was a small volume store, and it's still, but the volume has been increasing every month, and I'm happy about that also. So they predict that the economy is going to turn around next year, so if that helps, we'll be all right.
What advice would you give to other women, particularly minority women, who are considering going or owning their own car dealership?
Do it. If you want to do it, do it. I'd advise anybody to do it, because I did it.
What about women who are just considering going into business for themselves?
Do that also. You have to do what you want to do. If you feel that you want to dig a ditch and it makes you happy, go out there and start digging. You know, I did what I wanted to do, and I'm happy. You know, I'm happy. I'm enjoying my life. If I die tomorrow, I could say Jackie did it her way.
Breaking new ground professionally is of little consequence to some women. They are merely pursuing a career goal, and being a woman is secondary to that pursuit. Dr. Velma Jackson of Baton Rouge is one such woman. She was the first black female dentist in Louisiana, and that was just the beginning. Some feminists might be disturbed that Dr. Jackson's role model was a male dentist. But one must remember that during her youth in Baton Rouge, there were few female dentists to serve as an inspiration. In spite of that reality, Dr. Jackson single-mindedly set a career goal and never deviated.
I was in the 5th grade, about 10 years old, and my aunt had a problem with her teeth and gums. She went to visit one of, our family dentist at the time, who diagnosed it as periodontal disease. I was very impressed at his efforts and success in saving her teeth, and he became an image for me. And I wanted, at that time, and I think, well, I never wanted to be anything else.
Did you have a role model or a mentor?
Dr. B.V. Barranco, who is and was at that time the epitome of what I thought a good dentist was all about. And he certainly has measured up to all of my expectations and desires in my career.
Dr. Jackson has been practicing dentistry for 10 years, since graduating from Fisk University and Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. For 6 of those years, she has been in private practice. But forging new ground has neither been a hindrance nor a serious consideration to Dr. Jackson. And a confident, almost unconcerned manner, she states the reactions of patients to a female dentist. Being a black woman in the solo practice of dentistry, have you experienced any problems being a double minority?
Well, other than having people say, oh, I didn't know we had a black dentist in Baton Rouge, or female dentist. And to have a man to come into your office and realize that Dr. Jackson is a woman. But as far as any racial problems or problems with the male-female counterpart, male counterpart, I don't think so. I think just being good at your profession and knowing what you're all about and feeling confident in yourself helps a great deal.
She was one of only 2 women in her dental school class. As a result, some students and professors had to adjust to that novelty.
But then when they found out the kind of stuff that we were made out of, they quickly let us become a part of the flow of things. We had to crack a few jokes about, women being in the kitchen or women being at home having babies or taking the place of another fellow who could actually be here. And we sort of had the idea that if he was able to be there, he would. And we were in the mainstream. We met the qualifications, and we were a part of that class because we were qualified.
Tina is Dr. Jackson's nickname for her petite stature. Tina Jackson is a dynamo of energy in a small package. She takes an active role in PTAs, church, her sorority, and dental societies. And she is a talented artist. A recent article authored by Dr. Jackson was presented at President Reagan's White House Conference on Illiteracy. Being a single parent, she feels that her extra activities are almost a necessity for a well-balanced life. As a single parent in a full-time profession, how do you manage to be mother, father, dentist, and handle the pressures of both family and profession?
Well, at times, Genevieve, it can be very difficult. However, through, I would say, dedication to my career and to my kids, through organization, some self-discipline as well as my children being disciplined, and really scheduling your time so that you will spend quality time with your children and not have to sacrifice too many things. It can be a problem, but we work together, and we all have our responsibilities. They know that Mom can't always be able to accompany them to certain activities, but that I desire to be with them at those times, and that I certainly will be when I'm able to get there. It's necessary also to have some play. And your sororities give you the opportunity to meet some of those requirements that you wouldn't have time for if you were not in them, and also to give you a social life. I think all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, or Tina a dull girl. I have to step back and say, time out. I need a break, and I have to get away to spend some time with myself and to relax so that I will be what I should be to everybody.
Dr. Jackson is a past president of the Capital City Dental Association. Once again, she was the first woman to hold such a position. Her future professional plans include expanding her practice while continuing the personally rewarding patient relationships she cherishes. Dr. Jackson, what is the most rewarding aspect of your practice?
Gaining the confidence of a 2-year-old and having them have a desire to return to your office for a future visit. Establishing a rapport with them such that you are able to work in their mouths without them being so apprehensive that they just don't want to have any parts of you.
The woman in this poster is Dr. Jennie Patrick. She was one of 4 exceptional black scientists honored this year by the Ciba-Geigy Corporation. Not only is Dr. Patrick an exceptional black scientist, but she also holds the distinction of being the first black woman in this country to earn a doctoral degree in chemical engineering. She developed her interest in chemical engineering while studying at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama.
When I first went to Tuskegee Institute in 1967, I was majoring in chemistry, and I had always admired engineers, but I felt like it was something probably beyond my reach. But the second year, my sophomore year there, they had opened a chemical engineering department, and I said to myself, that should be interesting. I mean, it's a combination of chemistry, which is something I enjoyed and did very well with, and engineering, and that it would probably give me more of a challenge, in which it did. And so I eagerly went to the engineering school and signed up for chemical engineering.
Now, you were the first black woman in this country to earn a doctoral degree in chemical engineering. What does that distinction mean to you?
Initially, I didn't place that much importance on it, but what it really meant to me was that there was something wrong with the system, because it was very obvious to me that I was not the most brilliant black woman that had walked through the university doors, and that there were other elements that played a major role in my success, and such things as understanding the system, having a certain kind of emotional and psychological strength. And it meant that something had to be done to alert and to train other young blacks who had good minds more in the sense of understanding the system and being able to cope with the pressures that were not academic pressures.
What would you like for that distinction to mean to others?
I simply would like for them to use it as something to inspire them and to make them feel that, gee, if she can do it, I can do it, especially being that I came from an illiterate background, a very rural setting. One would often sort of feel that it makes it more difficult to go through a very rigid educational structure. And I do not consider myself a very brilliant person, but someone who is determined and stubborn enough not to give up something that I want.
Now, you travel all over the country encouraging high school and college students to pursue careers in science. What do you say to them, particularly since we don't see a lot of minorities? Traditionally, we don't see a lot of minorities in the fields of science, math, and medicine.
Well, one of the things is that I want them to believe that if there's something they want to do, that they can, and to believe that they must take the strength from within themselves, and to make them understand also that science and engineering, for whatever reason, are fields that blacks are often discouraged from going into, and to talk to them about the kinds of things, the kinds of obstacles that they're going to face. I want to also alert them of the hostility, and also make them understand that they may not be encouraged, but that should not stop them, that they should understand that there is something worth fighting for and pursue it, because in the end one may feel fulfilled by doing something that is challenging, and making a decision for oneself that this is what I like to do, and then simply do that.
You are one of 3 scientists being honored this year in the Exceptional Black Scientist Program. How does that make you feel?
I'm very grateful. It makes me feel a little bit more humble in a sense, because I believe that whatever I have achieved, it is not through my efforts alone. And I have to thank the many blacks and minorities who have given parts of their lives, and often their lives, to paving the way. And I have to, give my thanks to them for allowing me to have an opportunity to enter the types of schools that I've been able to attend. And I just hope that as time goes on, other, blacks in particular that make certain kinds of achievement feel that the achievement is not totally their own and share it in a very generous way so that others can benefit from it.
Well, I'd like to thank you for chatting with us today, and continued success to you.
Thank you very much.
Another woman who is helping women enter the mainstream is Helen Carruthers. She is the only black female prison warden in the United States. Recently, Warden Corrothers was in Baton Rouge, and she took some time out to talk to us. Helen Carruthers, as dynamic as a public speaker, has an infectious sense of humor, as well as an impressive background in business administration, and quite surprisingly to some, is the only black female prison warden in the country. All of these attributes are evident when she is discussing programs at her prison, and the fact that she never stops learning from her inmates.
We have like vocational programs where you learn to type, you learn the printing occupation, like in graphic arts. You learn to read and write, you get your high school diploma, you become involved in correspondence courses. So you get skills to go out and get a job, and sometimes that's what people need. They need a skill to go out and make a living. Other times they need something else, and this was the unusual one that called, and she said, I didn't need a skill when I was there. I had a skill when I came. I had a skill when I did my crime. My problem was I could get the job, but I couldn't hold the job because I couldn't get up in the morning. I just couldn't get up in the morning. And when I was there, I was assigned to the sewing department, and we had to be at work at 7:30, at work call at 7:20. I knew that if I were not ready, that I would receive a disciplinary report, and I didn't want that because that would lengthen my stay in prison. And so I was motivated. I got up and I went to work each and every day. And I have been shocked since I've been out. I have no problem at all in getting up. So that was something that I learned, that not only is it the job itself that you're doing in prison, whether it's meaningful or not, it's the work ethic, it's the work activity, it's the development of the work habit. And so I learned something, and I think that's unique, and I want to share that with you.
Warden Carruthers' credentials are not typical of your average prison warden. She holds 3 degrees, including one from the University of Chicago. As a candidate for a 4th degree in business management, Warden Carruthers will soon be known as Dr. Carruthers. With a variety of career options open to her, she still thinks of ways to improve the criminal justice system. Warden Carruthers, if you could close your eyes and dream of another career, what would it be?
First, if I may, let me just tell you something about rehabilitation, and then you'll better understand my answer. Around the country now, there is an anti-rehabilitation trend. People are willing to give up on the idea because they see it as something that is just for the inmate, and they don't see it as being for the public, a protection of the public. Within that, we have to look at the fact that whether we want it or not, some 95% of all of the people that go to prison will eventually leave prison. So it is very important for public safety that we continue to work to change the value system and attitude of people, and we call that rehabilitation. Okay, well, because this trend is so prevalent, if I could imagine something that I could do in the future, it would be to do something with a national perspective that could influence people into believing that we cannot give up on this concept of rehabilitation, that our lives and our future depends on it.
The life of a prison warden is not an easy one to cope with, but there are timely moments of gratification from the 185 female residents of the prison she supervises in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Have you ever had trepidations about your job? Did you ever wake up one morning and just shake your head and say, why am I doing this?
Oh, a lot of mornings. I think sometimes when you're working so hard to do what is good and what is right and to help people with their lives, and there are times that it seems that nobody is aware of how hard you're working, and that even the people that you're working for don't appreciate it. There are those moments. And then you say, why am I doing this? And what I found is that on each occurrence of this, when I'm just really down and I say it's just not worth it, it never fails that I'll get a call from a former resident. Maybe they've been gone 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, and they'll say, just call to say hello and to let you know that I'm married now, I have a family, and I have a good job, or maybe the one thing they wanted in life was to get a new horse. And in fact, I had a person call me, and she had her own horse. And but just calling to share the fact that they're happy and that they've gotten on with their lives and that they are free from crime.
Give me 2 words to describe your job.
2 words to describe the job of a warden with a crisis every minute. Hectic, challenging, and if I had a third, I'd say fulfilling.
Why are you good in what you do?
I'm very grateful for any success that I've been able to achieve, but I think challenge makes me run.
Well, Genevieve, I guess from what we've seen and heard today, women are definitely moving into the mainstream of things.
I think so, Rob, and hopefully more women will be inspired to forge new grounds as a result of this program. Next week on Folks, we'll take a look at Southern University's jazz band under the direction of Alvin Batiste. Here's a preview.
It promises to be a very entertaining show, and we hope you'll join us then. Until that time, so long.
Funding for the production of Folks is provided in part by the Friends of LPB.